Okay, we are here with a reaction to Nux Taku, although this is probably under his Nuxnor. So, Nuxnor video. Obviously, today is the 14th of December, 2025, and we have received some more bad news. It's been a bad week. If you're an American, there were ambushes in Syria, which I believe 2 U.S. service members died in from ISIS fighters. There were terrorist shootings at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island, I believe. And obviously, potentially the worst of the day, of the week, rather. Not even of, the month or the year, anything like that. Just of the week. Bondi Beach, Australia, there was a terrorist attack. It's, there's still a lot of information coming out. There's still a lot of unknowns. What we can confirm is the mass shooting, which was certainly at least perpetrated by a father and son duo. Father, aged 50, in some reports, is Sajid Akram. So he was the one who was shot and killed by police at the scene. His son, who has gone viral, just his image with the bolt-action rifle with the red dot sight on it, is in some reports called Naveed Akram. So as of this recording, he has been injured. He's hospitalized in critical but stable condition. So critical but stable typically means, obviously he had severe trauma, physical trauma, because the injuries from gunshots tends to put people down. So he may pull through and will be able to stand up to murder, attempted murder, terrorist charges, and if there are any other co-conspirators, there are some theories about that. Hopefully we can, or the Australian government will be able to completely weed out and root out whatever radicalized cell that these two, the father and son, may have been a part of. Supposedly there was also a car bomb, or at least I think it was police discovered an improvised explosive device, I think actually, in a car that is supposedly linked to them. Police obviously raided their place of residence, took people into custody, which I can only assume would be Mrs. Akram and potentially grandparents or a sibling or something like that. So it's really messed up. As of this recording, it was at least 15 people killed, or 15 confirmed, many more injured, as you would expect. And also, as you would expect with anything like this, the death toll would, you would expect it to rise. Hopefully that's not the case, but that's how the shit goes. As unfortunate as it is. So I am interested in jumping into Nux's coverage of this. Obviously, this was targeted towards a Jewish community where they're celebrating Hanukkah. And Nux being, the greatest Jew boy on the internet, which I am allowed to say, by the way. I imagine he has some pretty good takes on this, and obviously thoughts and prayers go out to the friends and families of the victims themselves, those who were both killed and injured. This is senseless, it's idiotic, it accomplished nothing, and the shooter who was killed, the father, I'm sure is burning in hell right now, and I can, I can only assume that I don't know. Hopefully, lone wolf type shit, but it seems like this just keeps happening. So, yeah, we'll see. Oh, and still sad, but slightly unrelated. One of the most, not maybe the most, but in the Western world, more strict on the spectrum of gun control. I know in Australia that you can register and get a license for firearms, I think specifically for hunting. In the video that I saw, definitely looked like a 12 gauge shotgun, where oh man, I should have checked who this guy was. Guy who stopped the Bondi Beach shooting, who is a non-radicalized, I assume he is a Muslim as well, was Ahmed El Ahmed. I believe that's right. Yeah, 43-year-old Mr. Ahmed run at the gunman sees his weapon. So in that video that I saw, it definitely looked like a, longer barreled 12 gauge shotgun, maybe like a 22-inch barrel, something like that. And then in the photos of the son, some sort of bolt action rifle. I didn't get a good enough picture of it. I don't know what caliber that could have been, but they do have very, very strict gun control laws, and shit like this still happens. So, and if Mr. Ahmed had a constitutional carry, concealed carry, and he'd even had a sidearm, who knows how much earlier he could have acted, and how many lives he could have potentially saved. But regardless, dude, that's steel ball, like Randy with the wheelbarrow balls. I'm sure Nux will show it in this video. It's incredible. Oftentimes I think guys, we kind of have that, like where girls are like, the internal monologues or whatever, where they joke about, girls thinking, oh, does he like me? Does he not like me? Did he notice my shoes? Did he this? Is that? And they're just kind of thinking about, more surface stuff, that is important. It's important, but it's real, like everyday stuff. And then it's going to a guy's mind, and it's like all these crazy hypotheticals. Like, what would I do if a ninja jumped through the window right now and I had to fight him to the death? Like, how would I do? I think I'd do okay. I think I'd flip the chair toward him to distract him, and then I'd go for the door and try to buy time that way. You know what I mean? And it's easy to think in hypotheticals. It's easy to think in kind of talk yourself up in your inner monologue as like, oh, I would definitely act this way, I would definitely act that way. Not even in something as insane as this, where you had presumably like he doesn't know it was only two shooters. It takes a special kind of person to be able to do that, to not even just biologically to have the correct response to violence or a threat, fight or flight. Vast majority of people have flight instincts, right? So then you already whittle down, like, I don't know, like 97% of people. You go to that 3% who have the fight instinct. Then you have people who are physically capable of dealing with the threat, and then the willingness to act on it and to interject and go in and try to change that outcome. And man, he apparently he's that 1 in 100 million right there. Fucking hero. Like he should Well, he's Muslim. I shouldn't say, oh, he should never have to pay for another beer in his life. Maybe he's non-practicing. I shouldn't assume that that's his religion, but his name is Ahmed Al-Ahmed, right? Like, I feel like I'm not really profiling when it comes to that, but no, man, like all you can eat, just fucking never have to pay for a meal in his life again. You never pay taxes to the I don't know, Sydney City Council, whatever their province is, and then to the federal government of Australia. You know, that's kind of my take on this, my overview looking into this. Obviously, a lot more is going to come out. There's going to be hopefully many, many more details, just so that we can understand and dissect why this happened, how this happened, and how we can potentially prevent future things, or at least mitigate what is to come. So anyway, that's me rambling on like normal. So let's jump in. Nux is way more eloquent and interesting, so I'm gonna let him carry, the rest of this video. So let's go.
Absolute nightmare scenario. The thing that I was told never happens just happened. Apparently, when you import people that are part of groups, they commit acts of terror. Over 2,000 members of the Jewish community held a Hanukkah celebration in Bondi Beach, Australia. 2 men armed with guns opened fire on the crowd in a giant terrorist attack.
I do have a little bit more attachment to Bondi Beach, just because of, I don't know if anybody else follows the Bondi Vet Rescue channel on Facebook. Well, I mean, maybe they have YouTube, but I see them on Facebook, like Facebook videos, Facebook shorts. Just super wholesome content, really great. Go check them out. Jeez.
Video of people fleeing the beach. The beach was full of thousands of people, obviously not just Jewish people, although there was a large Jewish gathering for the first night of Hanukkah, and there was a gigantic attack. This took place in Australia, part of Western civilization that is killing themselves with suicidal empathy, importing freaks and retards from around the world. And as you can see, this is everyone running out of the beach after shots were fired. Now, the horrible news is, well, the good news is they caught the guys. They arrested them.
Oh, jeez. Mr. Ahmed stomped him.
They actually caught these 2. They pinned them down. I'm pretty sure one of the 2 was killed on the spot.
Oh, yeah, that dude on the right, that's the father. Must have
obviously, the poor terror. They probably just have a mental illness, guys. They probably just have a mental illness. So, anyway, to make things infinitely worse.
And Mr. Ahmed apparently took, at least what I saw, 2 bullets. It like, not only did he do what he did, he also did it injured during, like, it's insane. That's superhero shit right there.
Well, this is unbelievable. This situation. It's rattling. It's shaking. You're not ready for what you're about to see. You are not ready for what you're about to see. It's a nightmare. We literally invited these freaks onto our ghosts. Like, dude, we did everything we could to propel the invaders and the barbarians from our shores for the last 1,400 years, and here we are with suicidal empathy, opening the gates, literally welcoming the orcs into the Shire. Obviously, I don't want to cast aspersions. I don't want to jump to conclusions. We don't know who the terrorist actually was. Sure, we don't know. We do now, but we don't know who it was. Let's not jump to conclusions, guys. The moment this took place, Australian Twitter was blowing up saying, yo, let's not jump to conclusions that it was an Islamic terrorist attack. Thanks, Australian Twitter, you fucking retards. Anyway, this is a video of a brave Australian legend, a hero, literally tackling and wrestling the gun out of one of the terrorists' hands.
Which, what Nux just said, I do largely agree with, but you do have to remember, importing or allowing immigration of certain people, obviously that always comes with negative effects, right? And so what Nux is pointing out is the recently accelerated trend. The trend's always been there, but an accelerated trend, especially recently with high-profile things going on, around the U.S. and around the world, where it seems like radical Islam is on the rise again, and it seems like there are more attacks. Attacks are more commonplace. Obviously, the National Guard shooting that happened in D.C., where the female National Guard recruit, I think both of them were only sworn in like within a month of that incident happening, where an Afghan immigrant who, by all accounts, really shouldn't have been in the U.S. The vetting was done poorly from that Operation Allies Welcome, bringing in a lot of people from Afghanistan when the U.S. withdrew from Afghanistan, obviously. So that would be another example, like super recently. I mean, obviously, as I mentioned in the opening, I believe another 2 or 3 U.S. service members were killed by ISIS, or I don't know, but they were in Syria, where they were ambushed and killed. I don't know the details of that one. I haven't looked into that super recently, but I understand where Nux is coming from. At the same time, you do have to recognize that Ahmed al-Ahmed presumably is also a Muslim man, a Muslim immigrant, and he's the one who stopped the attack, and was able to subdue the attacker, or the son, until police arrived that actually could deal with the attackers. So, it's one of those cases where 1% to 5% are the wolves that hide among the sheep that come in, right? It's tough, man. It's fucking tough. I don't know.
So, sirens in the distance, police and ambulances are coming. As you can see over here, this is the terrorist. This is the brave Australian hero who just grabbed the guy.
Oh yeah, that's even long. Yeah.
And was able to grapple the gun away from him and subdue him. Absolute legend. This dude's the main character of this situation. Actual hero. And of course, the terrorist is freaking out. And he shoots him, as he should. This person is absolutely, if this is self-defense.
Oh, he killed him.
You don't know if this guy has another gun on him. You take him down. No doubt. Bro, crazy. Absolute insanity. Obviously, he doesn't want to get arrested for Islamophobia, so I assume he doesn't actually want to actually shoot to kill. Because, listen, this is the most cucked nation of all time. So if you actually look at the unfortunate, horrible situation,
dude,
at least 10 were killed.
I didn't realize
the very first moments of this attack, with dozens shot, 10 dead, and this is why you fucking need guns. This wouldn't have happened in America, or in Israel, for the record. 2 guys with rifles, they would have been taken down immediately, all right? There is no question in my mind that this shit only was allowed to happen because in the hyper-cucked situation of Australia, where guns are actually the bad guys, all you do is limit and cuck your entire populace to get absolutely terrorized by a couple of retards. If this would have happened in America, he might have gotten like 5 shots off before getting taken down. Or Israel. Again, because the reality is, America has the best policies in regards to the Second Amendment, and Israel has an armed population because of the amount of terrorist attacks they have to go through, because, they're used to this. They're surrounded by radical Muslims. See, these guys are getting used to it now because they're importing radical Muslims. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Muslims? We're not allowed to do that. Breaking news from pamphlets. Bondi shooter was a far-right extremist who targeted a Hanukkah gathering. Wow! A far-right extremist? He was probably a Nazi. Maybe he was a Groiper, ladies and gentlemen.
Press
X my gosh, that's crazy. A far-right extremist. Let's look at their bio. Palestine flag. Oh, that's interesting. Palestine flag in bio. Far-right extremist. And this is what the news does all the time. They'll immediately say far-right extremist, when in the reality, it is not a far-right extremist. Oh my God, these pictures are crazy. So this is it's a Jewish
I believe
Jewish
a rabbi
cloth. It's a clothing that Jews wear,
killed.
and it's covered in blood. It's unbelievable. It's crazy, bro. What are we talking about? Are we surprised that this is even happening? I personally am not. When you have an entire country that's bending over backwards to cuck itself for the sake of not wanting Islamophobia, the reality is it's absolutely inevitable. Just like October 7th, where radical Islamists murdered and butchered Jews because they were Jews. Here we are in December in 2025, where you have radical Islamists butchering and murdering Jews because they're Jews. It's the same idea, honestly, and it's because radical Islam is a fucking threat on the world, especially against Jews. But they're not stopping there. They've already pronounced their hatred for Christians and Hindus. So don't worry, guys. But obviously, Jews are the first target. That's what it says in the Quran. First go for the Saturday people, then go for the Sunday people. So anyway, doctors and engineers. This is clearly a doctor and engineer. We don't know. We don't know if he's a Muslim yet, guys. He looks a little brownish, but that could be probably the film. We still don't know, guys.
Yeah,
he might.
That's just when you cut to the Family Guy meme with the the ratings going from like extremely Caucasian to brown skinned.
He still be far right. All right, so one of the Bondi Beach Australian terrorists who killed 10 people was identified as Naveed Akram. Mass immigration, ladies and gentlemen. The Australian government imported terrorists, and they allowed their citizens to get slaughtered. This is another one of my dear students, Naveed Akram, passing the IQRA books and Tajweed this morning. Wow, that's so nice. Look at him with this certificate of dumb fuckery. Let's not jump to conclusions, and it's Islam. And this is his driver's license, as you can see. This guy over here, Brown Road, a nice South Wales Australian that was imported and clearly shares
New
Western
South
values. Naveed Akram, terrorist. Very cool, huh? Very awesome. Isn't that nice? Isn't that lovely, guys? Isn't that great? Little 24-year-old fuck that goes out there. So immediately, Channel 9 in the United Kingdom and the fucking wealth, all right, the retards pop out. It's like, oh my God, guys, let's get a Muslim. Let's get a Muslim on camera immediately. Let's get them to report on the Islamic terrorist attack. Then you have foreign bots like Adam saying, you don't know if they were Muslim. Yeah, we do. No, this guy claims to be like Christian America first, right? He's like an America first guy, even though he's like a foreign Pakistani bot. You don't know if they were Muslim. Even if they were, it doesn't make all Muslims guilty. No one's saying that. There was no Islamic terror attacks, the murder of Islamic. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. Bro, you don't see Christians committing terrorist attacks for the most part. You don't see Jews committing terrorist attacks. You don't see Hindus committing terrorist attacks. All right, let's be honest. Let's be honest for a second, but there have been over 48,000 Islamic terrorist attacks since 9/11. At some point, it is the religion and it is the ideology when taken to an extreme. All right, let's just absolutely shut the fuck up for a second and stop ignoring this. It's like everyone wants to be inclusive and wholesome and not racist and not Islamophobic. You're putting your fingers in your ears, la 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 la, to prove how not Islamophobic I am. I'm going to import more Muslims into the country. Well, no one's surprised here. Now, the attack actually is even worse than you thought. So aside from two radical Muslims popping out of nowhere to murder a bunch of Jews on hot...
Well, it wasn't nowhere. From what I saw, the father, he came to Australia in like 98 or 99, and he immigrated and he got married and he had a kid, and I mean, you just saw on his ID that the son Naveed was born in 2001 and by all accounts was an Australian citizen. So I think that this is much less of a case of, and in all fairness, this video by Nux, his reaction, his was, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 hours ago. Well, let's check, actually. 10 hours ago. So 10 hours ago, obviously me reacting to this now, a lot more information has come out. So I guess instead of refuting, trying to clarify, what Nux is trying to say here is that it does turn out that the father immigrated legally back in the late 90s to Australia, got married, had a kid, at least one. I don't know beyond that. There's still speculation about his country of origin, but you know, and he had a license for the firearms that they used in the attack for decades, and there had been no issues, no other incidences. So I think that this is much less of a case of, you know, directly importing or the direct importation of radical individuals who kind of bide their time and then commit an attack or commit an atrocity like this. And I think it's much more of the case of, you know, they were radicalized by something or someone recently, you know. You know, I'm not the most patient person in the world, but I wouldn't have waited from 1998 until 2025 in order to perpetrate something like this if I had been planning on it. You know what I mean? So I imagine presumably that's what happened in the DC shooting. Presumably, like, we don't know for sure yet with the shooter there, Lockenwall or Lakenwall, whatever fuck his name is, where you know, he was Afghani special forces. He'd helped the United States special forces and, you know, cooperated with the US against the Taliban in Afghanistan. And, you know, he came over, what would that have been? That was during Biden, so probably, I don't know, 2021, 2022, 2023. I feel like COVID really blurred my perception of reality for the first half of the 2020s. But, you know, clearly it wasn't like he got to the United States and immediately started going crazy, going ham, looking for people to shoot in the streets or anything. Something likely happened that radicalized him or pushed him into action. I have not dug yet into the Brown University shooting. I only saw that it was likely a former U.S. Army man who got the GI Bill, got out, was planning on taking courses. I believe he'd registered for courses at Brown. I'm not 100% on that. Never saw combat. I definitely saw that. So I don't know. Something just seems to happen where in this modern age of technology, social media, and just constant connectivity, where people are easily broken and molded into psychopathic killers. Wish it didn't happen so often, but that's the world we live in. So
Hanukkah, as well as, you know, other random Australians that were there as well, but targeting Jews. Let's see if it was just that. Let's see if there was maybe another layer to this.
It's way too early to give any description of the firearms other than to say that they were long arms. Where they came from, their background, how they came to be in possession of the offenders, it's too early to say. As part of the investigation and shortly after the shooting occurred, police located a vehicle in Campbell Parade at Bondi, which we believe has several improvised explosive devices. We have our rescue bomb disposal unit there at the moment.
See, I was being skeptical. I was like, really? Is this an Islamic terrorist attack without explosives? But don't worry, guys. The good news is they found cars rigged with explosives. That's nice.
Working on that.
What is the life?
Fantastic, right, guys? Isn't this nice? Isn't this great? For the record, pay attention. This is just one of many. This is going to be happening everywhere. This is just one that got through past all the Secret Service guys. It got through. We failed. And this is just going to happen more and more and more as we continue to import more and more and more. Keir Starmer, retard extraordinaire, deeply distressing news from Australia. The United Kingdom sends our thoughts and condolences to everyone affected by this appalling attack in Bondi Beach. Are being kept updated in the developing situation. You absolute fucking retard. You, in England, this is the Prime Minister of England, are importing.
okay, let's try this again. Oh, so he was killed by police, not by not by the other guy. Well, in Nux, let's be real, right? They didn't admit to anything, right? They didn't admit beforehand, during, and after the shooting that they were specifically targeting Jews. What are you talking about? I think it's completely coincidental that two likely Muslim men were violent and possibly radicalized, possibly just violent, and they happened to go to a beach with a widely publicized Jewish event for the first day of Hanukkah, celebrating the first day of Hanukkah, and open fire. Like, I think that's a bit of a leap, Mr. Anor or Taku, Mr. Taku. That's a bit of a leap to try to suggest that these individuals were specifically targeting Jewish people. There were other people on that beach, not just Jews. I mean, speculate within reason. Wow. I didn't see that. Oh, jeez. No, and that what he just said has been a common trend, I feel, in the last, like, I don't know, two or 3 months maybe. And when I first heard it, I was like, oh, Nux is just being a little edgy, he's just being a little fun. Then he kept saying it, and more stuff kept coming out, and Then Zoran Mamdani got elected, and then the results came out of, who voted demographically, and then you go, yeah, no, this is quite indicative of the problem that he's talking about right here, with suicidal empathy and just some sort of monopoly on societal guilt. I don't know. No, and probably definitely not whatever, fringe social media accounts that they were following, or some radical imam that gets shuffled around like Catholic priests, or like orcas that have fucking killed people. You just move them, change the name, whatever it is. It's I don't know, man. It's definitely a systemic problem. It's definitely happening way too often, and I feel like we could be doing a lot more to mitigate, or at least minimize, what's going on. Oh, come on. What's with the accent, man? It's terrible. Now, in fairness, he was trying to read it fast, and I do feel like you can't do a proper Aussie accent if you're trying to read fast. You go, oh, the scenes in Bondi are shocking and distressing. And you go faster, because it feels like you just draw out like all the vowels. The signs in Bondi are shocking and distressing. Police and the emergency responders are on the ground working. Oh, jeez, I don't know where I went with that. I'm not one to judge, I guess. Jeez. Crikey. Oh my god, Mossad false flag. He's gonna say, this is patently false. This is not even remotely true. Only even just Nix Mossad agents are able to get. Just that alone, that is such a criminally false statement. Lose your blue checkmark, get banned forever. Able to get those exact weapons in Australia. It's like, dude, you post, oh my god. Yeah, it's like, first off, you don't even know, at this point, you don't even know the names of the perpetrators. And all that we had was footage taken from very far away, presumably CCTV or somebody over on a rooftop. I think it was CCTV, because it wasn't a lot of moving around or swaying. So you can guess as to, oh, it was likely a long-barreled shotgun and likely a bolt-action rifle. And then as more information came out after he made this post, you could get a little bit closer on, oh, it's probably a 12 gauge. Oh, it's probably... But for you to... This is just such a... it's almost satanic synagogue tricks. It's like, this is almost a parody. Like, I have to think that he's just trying to make somebody mauled. Like, that's fucking ridiculous. You can own guns in Australia. It's just they have a lot of restrictions on what you can own, who can own it. You have to go through, you know, a lot of training, licensure, registrations, like things like that. Like the father, presumably, according to what we know, as of 11:22 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, or Mountain Daylight Savings Time, I don't know, he legally owned those firearms, and he has legally owned those firearms for a long time with no incidents. Okay, that's just fact. As far as what Grok and Google have been able to tell me. So, you know, I don't know, maybe not, but this is just patently ridiculous. Allegedly. In all fairness, allegedly. Presumably. Like, and I'll clarify that. I do understand the reaction, right? I understand jumping. Like, when I watched this and I first got like push notifications and saw this happening, I was thinking exactly what Nux is saying. I'm like, oh yes, clearly, you know, two radical Muslim immigrants got guns, shot up a bunch of Jews, anti-Semites, all of that. I 100%. That's what my mind jumps to, right? First instinct. But you have to rein that in to a degree, and you have to wait for some of the facts to come out, right? Where, I mean, not even just from a disinformation standpoint, but just from an ethical standpoint, right? Where, you know, like, I don't want to say anything that is incorrect if it's avoidable, right? Obviously, you're always going to make mistakes. You're always going to, you know, there's always going to be some sort of either you don't explain something well enough, or you had a detail wrong, or you had the incorrect perspective. But part of what I would consider to be journalistic integrity, which is involved in covering things like this, is waiting for the facts to come out and then coming in with your opinion pieces or your the twists on it, right, that are more opinionated. So like Nux saying, you know, this event happened, there were two shooters, there was this improvised explosive devices found in a car. You're like, yes, those are the facts. And then beyond that, you can speculate and you can assume, as I think most of us did as we saw this. But to take those assumptions or the speculations and run with them before you have enough background information, it's not irresponsible, but you just, you know, be cautious of it, right? Like if something happens at noon and people are reacting to it at 12:15, do you think if those same people reacted at 2 o'clock and they got all not all the information, you know, because that's just not how the world works. But what do you think is going to give you a clearer and more accurate analysis of events, right? And that's not to say, oh, I'm not going to comment on, you know, I'm not going to comment on the Charlie Kirk shooting because Tyler Robinson hasn't been indicted, like he hasn't been found guilty, so I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. It's like, no, that was 3 months ago. More than enough information has come out to talk about that, right? But with Nux, with his background, I also saw Asman Gold reacted to this as well. I totally get it. You know, I totally understand, especially with Nux, where, you know, he has said numerous times, talked about losing family members in the October 7th attacks, right? So for him, it hits home in a way that it doesn't for me, you know, and I thank God for that. Not that it happened to somebody else, but that it hasn't happened to me. So I understand his reaction, but I do think that it weakens his position a little bit to, you know, saying that, oh, they imported the barbarians, right? Well, they imported somebody who turned out to be a barbarian or became a barbarian, but they quote unquote imported him back in 1998, right? So it's not the same thing, even as the National Guard shooting, where it was just a few years, right? Because I feel like that's more of the timeline of like what Nux is implying happened. Is they got here, they got set up, they spent a couple years acclimating, blah blah blah, boom, you know, shooting happens, atrocity happens, terror attack happens, something happens, right? Versus somebody moved to Australia on a student visa in 1998. I don't even know who he got married to, but apparently his visa got upgraded to, and I didn't actually even know this was a thing. So it goes from a student visa, and he got presumably married in 2001 to a partner visa. So I imagine that means that he married an Australian citizen. So it's like maybe the pseudo equivalent of a green card. And then, as we saw in the photo that showed his son's Naveed's ID, he was born, I forget the date, but it was August 2001, right? So, so maybe it was a shotgun wedding. Maybe he knocked up his girlfriend, right? So what's August, September, so 8 months. Yeah, that's the 8th month of the year. Interesting. So or maybe, you know, you file for it before and it just takes a while. I don't know, but sorry, what I'm trying to say is that the facts that have come out since Nux made his video do not support exactly what he's trying to say. In terms of timeline, in terms of immigration timeline to whatever countdown, ticking time bomb of radicalization occurred. Not that I disagree with his overarching opinion. It's just, in this case, you know, it benefited me more having been busy all day and not being able to make this until almost midnight. So I'll quit my yapping. Oh my god, we're only 16 minutes in. Holy shit. He should do an entire stream in that voice. True. This, it means this. And I'll make this interjection quick because again, Nux is way more interesting than me, but it reminds me of the video that came out of Dearborn, Michigan with the I believe it was a Christian pastor who was in front of the city council who got, reamed and denigrated and essentially ousted by the Muslim mayor, where he was just trying to ask, like, hey, I don't think we should be naming a street after someone who is part of Hezbollah, who was responsible for, like, him individually, the guy they were trying to name the street after, was personally responsible for planning and, I don't know, probably carrying out attacks, definitely planning attacks that killed U.S. service members. And you're just like, that should be a common sense take. But the mayor is still there. Dearborn is still essentially occupied. And yeah, that's just another symptom of what's going on. Yeah. And again, that's where I struggle with the, throwing the baby out with the bathwater in terms of an individual versus a group, where there are individuals who are beneficial to society. They're great additions to, for example, America, American culture, to the American nation. And to throw out 100% because of what amounts to essentially 1 to 3% of people, of those, wolves in sheep's clothing, the tigers that hide amongst the grass, whatever euphemism you want to use. That's just where personally I struggle with it, because I think of people and individuals that I know and that I have known for years, been friends with, have had great interactions with, who are Muslim, and I know that they would literally shit out of the Bible, take their clothes off their back and put it on somebody else's if they were cold. You know what I mean? And it just, I don't know. I don't know. But then you see news articles and you see shit like this happening, and you go, hey, maybe it's not worth it. But I don't know. That's where I struggle. I definitely think Nux is further down the rabbit hole, or further down the path, in a few different regards. And I do want to point out Nux, right? So this is just to beat the pre-watch allegations that Nux might get from time to time, where he'll do this, and it's funny, and I love it, where he will just jump on somebody and mock them and mimic them, and then it turns out like, oh wait, she actually supports the same position, and then he's like, no, yeah, 100%, like, you know. Like, because when she first talked, he was, you know, doing the fake British accent, doing like whatever, and it's like, you know, like he's doing live reaction, like get that pre-watch bullshit out of here. Like that's not what he's doing. Straight from the hip. Yes. Jeez. That is something that his fucking accents, man. But Palestine, right? Obviously that has been a hot button issue for quite a while now. But that's something that I want to do a deep dive historically into. Okay, well, I need to figure this out. Are we all the way back there? I don't know. I'm trying to use Clipchamp, and it only lets me record a half hour, and half the time that I start recording, 8 minutes in or thereabouts, it'll just ask me if I want to record, and I'm like, weren't you already recording? And Clipchamp tells me to go fuck myself. So I don't know. I will edit this in post, maybe, probably not.
Actually, that's so the funny.
We'll see how far back it goes.
Acceptable. So, you know, this is the statement from the Prime Minister of Australia. My statement formally recognizing the state of Palestine. Hope it was worth it, Anthony. Now, the funny thing is, a couple of months...
So, okay. Well, I can redo this part at least. So, I said in my previous recording, and I did ramble, so it's probably better that I do a hot take and then do this, where I'm just like, oh, I already got it out of my system. I may as well... be a little bit more concise, where I'd love, and I think I am going to do it, a deep dive into Palestine, in the history of Palestine as a term, as a region, as a people, and because obviously there was the British Mandate, British Protectorate, and then World War II happened, and the Jews went through a little bit of a rough time, and they were gifted a parcel of land in the Middle East, and it was previously called Palestine, I believe. Again, I want to do a deep dive and want to learn more about this. And everything went to hell after that. So, yeah, I am a history buff. I have a master's degree in history, and I would like to do that. And I could probably get 3 or 4 views on it if I could find the other like 3 or 4 people on the internet who would like me to do that. So, anyway, let's move on. I do believe Nux is, or Mr. Taku is going to jump into some more accent work. So I love that.
Ago. In September, all the Libcuck nations, like Canada, Australia, France, and England, they all came together. They put their
I misremembered this. Never mind. No accent.
On the table, and they were like, "Guys, we're gonna unite and recognize
no.
state."
Not just tiny dicks, not just tiny little peepees. Uncircumcised peepees. Yikes.
Palestine, it's been too long. This country that never existed deserves to have a name and have a place. We must reward the brave terrorists of Hamas for committing terrorist attacks and support them. Now, we all know the reason why they're doing this. Now, let me make this clear. They're not beacons of morality. None of these people give a fuck about any of this. You want to hear my incredible hot take?
True.
It's gonna blow your mind. You're gonna actually be shocked when you hear. It's because they imported a gigantic voter bloc of radical Muslims. So they're appeasing the fucking retards that they're importing to vote them into power forever.
Yup.
It's so obvious when you think about it. But 10% of England is Muslim right now.
Which
obviously,
when you think about it, having an open immigration policy in a republic or democracy, that is one of the glaring weaknesses is the migration of peoples, right? Whether that's through immigration. I mean, that goes as far back as the beginning of time, right? The Western Roman Empire was affected by the migration of peoples, where they were coming down off the Eurasian steppe because they were getting forced, right? The Goths, Visigoths, like all that crap. And that led to a decline of the Western Roman Empire, right? And then we had the Dark Ages, and the Dark Ages are called that because we lack a lot of historical representation in that period. And there was a group that was referred to as the Sea Peoples, and they basically swept through, whether they were fleeing, famine or another natural disaster or whatever, or just natural migration. They got pushed up into what we consider the cradle of civilization, right? Europe, of Western civilization, excuse me. And basically led to, I forget, like 303 BC, like 400-500 years of almost no historical representation, right? Trying to think. I'll cut this out. Never mind. Fuck me.
Keir Starmer is gonna want to say that we should recognize this state of Palestine. Duh. You're gonna get 10% of the votes, just like that. All you gotta do is reward terrorism, and boom. And they rewarded terrorism because they committed a terrorist attack. That's the craziest part. You know why they decided to recognize the state of Palestine? Because Hamas launched a terrorist attack and killed a lot of people. That's it. They just go out there, they reward the terrorists, and boom. Hope it was worth it, Anthony. to get those liberal votes, get those lib cuck votes. Hell yeah, dude. You did a good job, bro. Shout out to these guys. This is one of the Bondi Beach terrorists. Now imagine when they become 10% of the population. Actually, no need to imagine. Just look at Britain. Are you aware that in England there's a Islamic terrorist attack basically every week right now?
10% of the population. No need to imagine. Just look at Britain. Can I get a shots fired? Question mark? Too soon?
Whether it's just a stabbing or a beating or whatever, or a rape, it happens every week easily. So that's where we're at. Yep, this is just a guy. This is just another one of those guys. Let's not imagine. Australia needs to remigrate those who can't assimilate and help identify them. But they call this racist. You're not allowed to do that. That's obviously racism.
But that's the other side of. That's what makes this so difficult. Is that kid? Well, I say kid because I'm older than he is. Naveed was born in 2001. Right? He was born an Australian citizen. He grew up in Australia. So like what happened? What happened? Was it his whole life? It was kind of just fringe, not seeing himself as a true Australian, or did he see himself as an Australian and as a migrant? You know, I don't think we know what they were, whether they were, I don't know, Afghan, Pakistani, whatever it is. Did he see himself first as, oh, I'm an outsider, I see myself as X country first, and then an Australian? But like, how do you go from being born in 2001 and being a 24, maybe 25-year-old and doing some crazy shit like this, you know? Like, there has to be an incendiary point. There has to be an activation point. Whether that was through his dad, through somebody else, whether that was like is it rooted in just one crazy imam on the internet that they just got absolutely inundated in his beliefs and his radicalism, and like I'm very curious to see like a true forensic breakdown of like what happened psychologically. But I have absolutely no faith in the Australian government to A, conduct such an investigation, and B, tell us the findings of such an investigation if they actually managed to do one. So we will probably never know.
The reason why I'm bringing all this up is not only in a vacuum, but also Islamic terrorist attack on German Christian market in Bavaria was foiled. 3 Moroccans, 1 Egyptian, 1 Syrian arrested. This just happened today. Now, for those of you that are unaware,
last month there were, I think, 2 different foiled terror attacks in Dearborn, Michigan. You know, I think one was planned for Thanksgiving, and the other one was just planned. That just happened.
Here, when I covered,
and I didn't even hear about this one. 3 Moroccans, 1 Egyptian, 1 Syrian, German Christmas market in Bavaria. That's
like this Australian story.
Wild.
This is one that got through. This is unfortunately one that got through. The tragedy is there are so many more. Thank God a lot of them are stopped. But we shouldn't need to live like this, man. Terrorist attack against Christians? Are we surprised? Are we surprised that radical Muslims might commit a terrorist attack against Christians? Really? When they think that Christianity is a pagan religion where you're worshiping a false god and therefore punishable by death? According to the Quran, Jews aren't punishable by death, but Christians are. So are we really surprised that this is going to happen? They just understand that Christians are a world superpower, so realistically they don't want to mess with them on a global scale. But Islamic terrorist attack on Christian market thwarted. The 5 men arrested because they were trying to pull that shit off. So Piers Morgan, I wanted to bring this guy up because this dude, he's a very famous British guy who's on CNN and he's on all the British shows. He considers himself anti-woke. He's like,
out of what seems to be a master does not indiscriminate Piers. So I mean, dude, Piers is as rough as a week America's been having this past week with, you know, numerous terror attacks and different bad things happening. Piers Morgan's been having a worse week. He had Nick Fuentes on his show, which did not go well for Piers, in my opinion, because he failed to dissect or try to break down any of Nick's opinions or arguments, and he basically just had a parade of clips that were trying to paint Nick in a bad light, and he kind of outed Nick's dad as racist, or tried to, and admittedly Piers said, I wouldn't have done that if I could go back, whatever. And Piers conducted, honestly, just a terrible interview, to where I really question whether or not he's going senile. Where I don't know how you could spend, I mean, he's a boomer, right? So he's probably spent at least 95 fucking years in the media, and this dude can't even conduct a proper interview of somebody. He's that old school legacy media man, and he pretends that he isn't, because now he has a web show, now he has, and the reason that Piers Morgan Uncensored works even just as little as it does is because Piers Morgan Uncensored has other people on the show, and Piers just becomes a moderator. That's it. Because as soon as Piers opens his mouth and starts fucking talking, people realize very quickly that his, at least for American viewers, I imagine, his accent carries him, man. You know, it's that thing where, you know, a lot of women will say, you know, like a French accent, a British accent, Irish accent, like whatever it is, it's like having a superpower, right? In terms of attraction and sensuality and all that good stuff. And there is something about English speakers, native English speakers, when you hear a British accent, that you go, he's intelligent. Oh wow, yeah, he put that. And when you actually break down Piers Morgan, you get infantile, stubborn, narcissistic, like cosplaying intellectual argumentation. Honestly, the only thing I need to say, the only statement that I feel like I need to make to substantiate that claim is he was 100,000% flummoxed and stopped stone cold by the most powerful words in the English language when it comes to arguing against a leftist: per capita. And that's it. So Piers having an uneducated or uninformed take, not surprising, especially considering he probably saw it on Sky News or BBC or something like that, right? Where they didn't mention any of the stuff that he's asking about, or the stuff that he should have clarified had he been given the information. So that's my take.
He calls himself a centrist, when in reality he's a libtard. His wife cheats on him, you know, classic libtard. And basically he's screaming,
and he came out as a
going on
cuck.
at Bondi Beach? Some horrific videos coming out of what seems to be a mass.
He is actually a cuckold. And that does make me feel bad for him, frankly.
Shooting, 2 men firing indiscriminately onto a packed beach. Are you surprised, Piers? Are you surprised? I'm not. I'll tell you for the record, I'm not. Piers Morgan knew about this. Maybe not this specific attack, obviously, but Piers Morgan is the guy that literally said, hey guys, we should import everyone Tommy Robinson, he's this British activist that wants to get rid of a lot of the, especially the illegal invaders and to close the borders. He calls him a far-right Nazi because of this. Okay, so Piers Morgan, a guy that's pro-immigration, because mass immigration make England a better place. Think of all the good food. There's delicious curry right now. Are you really surprised? And then you dare feign, this is the most ignorant shit I've ever seen. What the hell is happening? Really? What the hell is happening? Are you that surprised when you import the third world, when you import radical retards and quote-unquote refugees, that they might just be sleeper agents waiting to fucking kill you? So this was Piers Morgan on his own show, talking to, I'm pretty sure this is a Australian guy. Yeah, this is an Australian government official named Nasser Machni. He is a Muslim, obviously, no one's surprised, immigrant. He has a Palestine flag on his fucking lapel. So that's how you know he's based. So Piers Morgan interviewed him on his own show, and this is what he said.
What? Was it an act of terrorism?
He's talking about October 7th. You know, the October 7th massacre where, many thousands of Hamas terrorists and other groups got together to massacre, rape, murder, and kidnap Jews, and killed 1,300.
Listen,
kidnapped them.
You can't expect this guy to be a straight shooter when he can't even fucking look straight. So, yeah, I'm sure he's gonna obfuscate and try to talk over it.
Another 300. He's asking about that completely and utterly unprovoked atrocity. So he asked him, probably the biggest Islamic terrorist attack since 9/11 worldwide,
No, I think it was. I think it was.
No, I'm not going to call
At
it
least
terrorism.
in terms of impact globally, 100% it was. Obviously not as big as 9/11 in terms of body count and global impact, but since 9/11, yes, I can't think of anything else since 9/11 besides October 7th attacks that affected like the world, you know. And I mean the whole world knows the Palestinian flag now, because it became such a global issue, because of a war that Hamas started. So
He's not going to call it an act of terrorism.
fuck around, find out.
This guy is a member of the Australian government.
What do you call it?
I'm going to call it part of the Palestinian resistance.
Right. Palestinian resistance is raping and here's the funny part, and I mean funny in the most ironic term. How'd that work out for the Palestinians? Well, I'll tell you. It worked out with 60,000+ Palestinians dead in Gaza, and Gaza looking like
Terrible.
an absolute nightmare. That's what happened.
No, flattened.
They caused the flattening of Gaza and the death of 60,000 Gazans. So I would say that it was a pretty bad act of resistance. It also caused the downfall of Hezbollah in Lebanon and the destruction of Iran's missile program, and also the obliteration of the entire Houthi leadership in Yemen. So
it's
I
kind
would
of
argue that this
net
was
positive,
one of the worst acts of resistance I've ever seen.
So therefore legitimate.
Well, Palestinians have a right to fight for freedom.
Right, so why are you being...
They were free. They also sent 30,000 missiles into Israeli cities since 2006, and they've elected a terrorist government in Gaza. Like, we've got to stop playing around with these fucking games. Like, these people started every single war. All the wars that involved Palestinians were started by Palestinians. You have to understand this. For all of Israel's history, they have never started a war with Palestinians or Palestine. And no one wants to actually engage with the talking point that they didn't start a single war.
Why are you just pretending you care about the deaths of civilians?
What?
He doesn't. He doesn't care about the deaths of civilians. Absolutely not. They literally got a immigrant radical Muslim as part of the Australian government, and he's talking about how October 7th terrorist attack was justified as an act of resistance. Well, in that case, it was justified that 60,000+ Gazans were killed, because that's just what happens when you start a war and lose. Well, thank you, sir. Very cool. But Piers Morgan had this guy on his show. Are you that surprised when this is a government official in Australia and he views the most obvious terrorist attack of all time as an act of resistance? No shit.
Okay, I feel better. Jeez. I feel better about how much I yap. Okay, let's look. Okay, so that's where it comes up. So 2551 to 2850. So 2.5, 3 minutes talking about the first like 4 seconds of a clip. Okay, I feel better. Since this entire video is 54 minutes and I'm on my 3rd recording, which means I've been talking for like an hour and 22 minutes. Never mind. I'm never beating those allegations. Also, another deep dive that I'm gonna write down. I want to make a video, especially in the wake of Steven Crowder going on to Piers Morgan and basically trying to school him in a friendly way on, hey, Piers, this is why the internet is saying that you're a shitty interviewer. And all of it, like, Piers got pretty defensive and you could tell he was uncomfortable, and pushed back a bit. But I think Steven made tons of good points, mostly to do with just the attitude going into the interview and conducting the interview. So I want to make a video, and I think I'll do it probably titled Piers Morgan is a crappy interviewer, or shitty, but censored out for reasons. Is a shitty interviewer confirmed or something? I don't know. Allegations are true, or yeah, I don't know. But I do, because I think Piers Morgan is so snooty, where it's like that thing where he acts like he's 140, 150 IQ, but he's really a 115. You know what I mean? Like, you probably knew that kid in high school. So, anyway.
There's going to be something happening in Australia. Like, what are we talking about? So Piers Morgan says, terrorist attack in Bondi Beach is absolutely horrific. It seems 2 male shooters dressed in black fired with Islamic radical Muslim shooters dressed in black fired shotguns at hundreds of Jewish people celebrating Hanukkah and terrible images, many victims of all ages. Dude, it's pretty awesome that Piers Morgan will literally invite this guy and be completely shocked that there's some sort of terrorist attack in Australia. Really? Christian does something wrong. Christianity is evil. Hindu does something wrong. Hinduism is evil. Muslim does something wrong. He's just a misunderstood human being. every single time, obviously. That's where we're at. We know. We welcome to the left. Welcome to the left, ladies and gentlemen. It's such a beautiful place. It's so nice. So let's look at what the Australian evolution of Australian politics was about.
Australia is done. First they banned the bows, then they banned machetes and swords. Now they're coming for guns. This isn't random, it's sequential. Because once digital ID is fully embedded, once surveillance is total, once Australians are...
we in America have no idea how lucky we have it. That we're not in one of these shithole lib-cuck countries.
Politically and culturally disarmed, there is no resistance, only compliance. This is the emasculation of a nation in real time. Australia is being marched toward technocratic control, where the state tracks, restricts, and ultimately dominates every aspect of your life.
And if you say something they don't like, they'll arrest you for hate speech.
Not through tanks in the streets.
Well, I mean,
but
they had easily, well, maybe not easily, but they, in compared to the rest of the Western world, they had some of the most draconian COVID laws, hands down. Like, full-on internment camps, terrible things like that. It wasn't as bad as China, where they were literally like welding bars over doors to keep people inside of apartment buildings. But in comparison to the rest of the Western world, it was rough, and I feel like people just forgot about that.
Through databases, permissions,
this is why the Second Amendment is so pivotal and so crucial. It is 100%. To protect against a tyrannical government.
Safety laws. Say goodbye to the Australia you knew, because when every safeguard is gone, the government can do whatever it wants, and citizens have no leverage, no protection, no recourse. This is exactly why the United States enshrined the Second Amendment, not for chaos, not for crime, but as a final check against state overreach. What's happening here isn't progress, it's submission, and it's happening right in front of our eyes. Australia,
Here we are on a beach of 2,000 people. Not a single one of them had a weapon.
wake up. This isn't some sort of race war. The Australian government doesn't have the guts to deport people.
Yep. You're just dead. You're just done. Good luck, guys. What do you want me to say? Good luck, people in Australia and Canada and England and France. Good luck. Like, you are literally doing a very nice slow suicide. And then, of course, you have people with an Australian over here. All right, Australian. Of course, there's pronouns in bio. Obviously, that's how you know it's real. You know, I know it's a meme. You watch who becomes the victims in all this. Just you watch. Oh, those Jews. Oh, those Jews being victims. Oh, those Jews being victims when Jews are killed. No, but I think what actually is being referred to is, what terrifies me is if ISIS were to detonate a nuclear device and kill 50 million Americans, imagine in the backlash against peaceful Muslims. Dude, this tweet has reigned supreme. It's crazy.
Yep.
And
Legend.
you can expect it. You can expect all the calls to, there's too much Islamophobia.
Well, no. Imagine how Zoran Mamdami's aunt feels. That's who even cares about the other. You know, I don't know what's the percentage of people. Jeez, I don't know, like 2 billion Muslims, 3 billion Muslims, whatever it is. No, Zoran Mamdami's aunt.
Tell you right now, we really need to calm down. So, Keir Starmer, retard Prime Minister of England, says, as Jewish communities come together to celebrate Hanukkah, I send my warmest wishes to the families across the UK and around the world. May the festival of light bring hope, peace, and comfort. Hanukkah Sameach. Are we fucking insane? He posted this tweet an hour after a terrorist attack killing Jews on Hanukkah. Are you actually brain dead?
Don't pre-schedule.
What are we doing? Piers Morgan even called him out on this, and he's like, how could this staggeringly tone-deaf post still be up? Does nobody at Downing Street work on Sundays? No, but that's crazy.
It's because he
that's not the only terrorist attack against Jews
pre-scheduled his
specifically.
post.
Jews were shot in their own home in California as well. Gunmen opened fire on the Jewish family while screaming anti-Semitic slurs, including, Free Palestine and Allahu Akbar and F the Jews.
Oh, I didn't hear about this.
Free Palestine, N-word, F the Jews. You know, nice, good stuff, just basically. There it is. Just drives past a Jewish house and shoots into the house. In California. So, I mean, thank God, from what I understand, no one was hurt. But that's crazy. That's insane. That's just absolutely crazy. I mean, I could guess who it was.
Wow.
Not gonna jump to conclusions, obviously. So this is Piers Morgan freaking out. Don't worry, Piers. Just turn the news off. Tuck in your little curry. Don't worry, Piers. Just keep importing these people. Just keep importing them, guys. That's right. Just keep importing them. Everything will be fine.
And
just
an
keep
English
importing more
flag.
retards. It'll be good. The food
flex.
tastes better. It absolutely will not be detrimental to the culture. Nope, absolutely not. Definitely not. Here's a Palestinian doctor from Gaza saying that men have the right and must beat their wives.
هو ضرب يقصد به تنبيه المرأة إلى أن حياة الأسرة في خطر. تنبيه المرأة على أن علاقاتنا هو ضرب يقصد به تنبيه المرأة إلى أن حياة الأسرة في خطر. تنبيه المرأة على أن علاقاتنا الزوجية مهددة. فانتبهي حتى لا
Right, because she might destroy the family. So to stop her from destroying the family, all you have to do, you just have to beat her. Nice.
ولا يتأثر مستقبلنا. ثم بعد ذلك
The beating is symbolic, actually.
ضرب رمزي. وإذا كان ضرب حقيقي له شروط ومواصفات يعني بدءا من المقصود ليس الانتقام.
No, of course not. The beating is not of course. The purpose of beating is not revenge, obviously. Of course. It's to cure the family from the disease of the woman thinking that she has the right to an opinion. Man, I'm really glad we're reporting these people.
I want to see what that said right at the end.
ثم بعد ذلك
The beating is symbolic, actually.
Yes, symbolic. Shouldn't be to injure. There are restrictions.
بدءا من المقصود ليس الانتقام.
No, of course not. The beating is not. Of course. The purpose of beating is not revenge. Obviously, of course, it's to.
Mend her ways,
cure the
protect family
family
life.
from the disease of the woman thinking that she has the right to an opinion.
Oh my god. When you beat your wife, you should avoid hitting sensitive
Man, I'm really
parts.
glad we're...
Well, I'm glad he clarified that, because I was gonna punch my wife in the throat.
It's not. The beating
Well,
is not...
That's what I was gonna do.
The
So I'm glad he
purpose of
said
beating
that.
It's not revenge, obviously. Of course. It's to cure the family from the disease of the woman thinking that she
This comment down here is diabolical.
has the right to an opinion. Man, I'm really glad we're importing these people. They really seem to be the nexus of morality. Here's a story about how Hamas was hoarding baby milk to manufacture a hunger crisis in Gaza. Footage reports show boxes of formula strewn about in a warehouse in a plot to help diplomatic pressure on Israel, expert says. So essentially what they were doing is they were starving their own people and their own babies in order to manufacture some sort of starvation crisis. The babies are starving in order to basically use that as propaganda in a war. And you know what? It worked. It absolutely worked. All the freaks on the streets protesting the starvation in Gaza that never happened. Well, those guys are definitely, they're helpful. Thanks, guys. Thanks, useful idiots. We should import all these people. They're just victims of horrible Israeli tyranny when they lose a war that they started. And we immediately need to import all of them. Well, here's breaking news that just came out yesterday, and it's heartbreaking. A Gaza doctor, right? This isn't a terrorist. This isn't a Hamas. This is a doctor, all right? I mean, well, to be real, I'm trying to think of the religion of the doctor. It was not a Jewish doctor. All right, don't ask Kanye West. It was not a Jewish doctor. It was a Gaza doctor in Gaza, murdered an Israeli hostage by injecting air into her veins, and then sent a video of her dying and begging to her life to her father. This is a true story. By the way, this isn't just reported in this one article from the Daily Mail. This was reported everywhere. The father was on the news crying and all that. But yeah, anyway, nexus of morality. And those doctors, those of the doctors, for the record, that are saying that Israelis are targeting children. I mean, it's crazy.
Oh, no, that's... I don't know. Maybe just as a kid, you know, you got to be careful when they're giving you an injection or drawing your blood, because it'll become like a stroke and boop, you're dead. But this says accidentally injecting air into a vein can cause venous air embolism, which, yeah, that's an embolism. Blocks blood flow, so you could get shortness of breath, confusion, chest pain, or even heart failure. So cardiovascular collapse, that's that is more drawn out and painful than I thought it was. So that's, if true, fucked up.
It's absolutely insane to watch the two sides of this war as time goes on, and as more and more information is released after the war is kind of basically at a halt, and to kind of see the fact that there really is no moral equivalence here. There really is no moral equivalence. They have produced numbers that there's a 1-to-2 ratio. According to Hamas, 20,000 of the 60,000 dead are Hamas terrorists. And the other 40,000 are, they claim, civilians. Who knows if it's true? Which is, very normal, unfortunately, because war is brutal. Normal collateral damage in a conflict, especially when the terrorists use human shields and fire missiles from hospitals. But the reality is, they use this as a gigantic ploy to convince the world that they are the gigantic victims in everything, losing a war that they started, to basically import them everywhere, and now they're everywhere. So Konstantin Kirsan released this video basically 10 minutes before the breaking news of the shooting. So he released this video, and then he's like, we scheduled this episode a long time ago. Sadly, the timing couldn't be more tragically apt.
It's not Islam, it's Islam, and it's not Muslim, it's Muslim. And the two words are connected. And what that means is submit or surrender. How did it go from this guy who was just sitting in a cave? They've conquered most of what was the old Roman world. 66%, let's say, of the original Christian world.
Where are these Islamic radicals?
Where are they?
Yeah.
Everywhere. The UK's problems, man, they're just kind of mind-boggling. Your Islam problem is less about Muslims, and it's more about the people who are enabling and empowering them and bringing them in.
Yeah.
I mean, I see in the UK radical Muslims screaming, like actual Islamic jihadist stuff, and they don't get in trouble. But then when a British person fights back, they get arrested.
Do you think the religion of Islam is compatible with the West?
Well, Anyway, I didn't watch their full interview. This literally just came out right now. It's
Yeah,
insane.
I need to watch
It's absolutely
Trigonometry.
insane. But the reality is, it's important to note that Canada is taking steps in the right direction, thank God. Canada to criminalize biblical passages with new hate speech law. That's right. You know where it says in the Bible that sodomy is forbidden, or a man shouldn't lie with another man?
I was gonna say,
I'm sure
immediately when you read that, I think of anti-gay or anti-homosexual verses.
that Bible verse is going to be getting banned very soon because, unfortunately, the Bible's not inclusive enough. So they're importing Muslims with the Quran that they're not censoring. And the Quran, for the record, is diabolical. If any of you have ever read it, it's literally constant, slaughter the kafars at the neck, it's full, and it's just actually, like, here's the funny thing. The funny thing is, the actual text is diabolical. Like, you actually read, like, random chapters of it, you'll lose your mind. But they're censoring Bible passages. This is Western civilization, ladies and gentlemen. This is Western civilization.
Yeah,
so
it's
on
wild.
Sky News, they interviewed one of the officers that
wild.
took down one of the shooters.
Imagine
we're gonna
going
go back
to 2001, 2002, which, I mean, people weren't in their right minds then either, right? In America, just with the 9/11 attacks and the surgence of nationalism, Islamophobia, an overcorrection after the 9/11 attacks. Just try to explain to somebody from maybe not even then, maybe like 2003 to 2006, like where we're at now with immigration and hate speech laws and just reporting on attacks like what just happened, where
to Shari Markson. She is with someone at the scene. I'm not sure if this is a witness, Shari, but what can you tell us?
Yes, Caroline. This is Vlad from the State Emergency Services and Ilona. They were both there when the shooting happened. As you can see, Vlad has got fresh blood all over his Oh, you don't want your face on camera?
No, his hand is covered in blood.
See them, my hands.
Oh, your hands. He's showing you his hands because they're covered in blood. Vlad, what happened when the shooting started?
So I was with my son, 8 years old. I pushed him to the ground and I fell on top of him. And then there's another security guard from, what's they called, security company? GSA. GSA was hit in the shoulder and fell on top of me. The shooting was going on 5 minutes non-stop.
How many gunshots do you think?
5 minutes non-stop. Let's ban guns, guys. This'll save everyone. Everyone will get saved if we ban guns. If you ban guns, that just means that the bad guys are the only ones that are going to have the guns. But it's absolutely asinine. Holy shit. Armed population is absolutely the way to go. It's crazy. And, they banned bow and arrows because apparently that was too dangerous in Australia. They banned knives. Like, bro, what the fuck? They're not gonna...
Going back to the whole, being the 1 in 100 million guy to tackle one of the attackers. I don't know that I could have done that per se. I do have a flight instinct, which is why I'm not allowed to go into scary houses like for Halloween or whatever, because I can't help it. Like, my instinct is to throw a punch or grapple, try to take somebody down. But I'm not a big guy. I'm 5'10", I'm 150 pounds. So, like, if it's similar weight, even within 25, 30 pounds of me, that's one thing. But you start talking about a weight advantage of 50, 60, 70 pounds. There's only so much you can do trying to grapple, especially just with the leverage you can get on a long gun, like the what appeared to be a shotgun in that video. I don't know, now, if I was allowed to carry, my concealed carry, that would have been different. I would have acted differently because, in my opinion, firearms are the ultimate equalizer. Doesn't matter how big you are, doesn't matter what gender you are. If you have 115 grain bullet going through you, it doesn't care if you're 250 pounds pure muscle or if you're 185 pounds pure muscle. Yeah, I don't know.
Kill you with knives or guns. If with guns, they'll kill you with something else. And here they even killed you with guns. There's nothing you can do. 5 minutes. 5 minutes of shooting. That's crazy.
It's a long time.
The dude wouldn't have lasted 30 seconds in America.
Yeah.
Or Israel. It would not have lasted 30 seconds.
Think were fired in that fight.
Probably 50, 60 gunshots. It was non-stop.
60 gunshots with a rifle. Do we understand what we're doing here? We are killing ourselves in the West.
There's a bolt
That's why
action
thank God Trump
rifle.
won. Thank God Trump won. Oh my God, people complain Trump's not doing enough. They're right, Trump's not doing enough. But Trump is doing a metric fuck ton better than whatever would have been on the other side. We would have been Australia right now. This is insane.
And the whole time you were lying on top of your 8-year-old son.
And then I was trying to give the first aid to the guy because he was bleeding profusely. So
Which guy? A guy next to you?
security guard that was shot, yes. And then once the shooting stopped, I went out, tried to help people. I was just covering bodies because there was people dead
Oh my God.
everywhere. Young, old, rabbi, they're all dead.
What a nightmare.
Jeez.
And then 2 people died while we're trying to save them because ambulance didn't arrive on time. And then, of course, everyone came.
Oh my God. Australia speedrunning, becoming the 110th country that Jews leave. Wow, that's insane.
How many people do you think? Just dozens were shot, both injured and killed.
Dozens killed
Oh my God.
and more than dozens injured. It must have been high caliber bullets because the people's brain was all over the place, exploded. So
And the people you tried to save, who did you work on? After the security officer, who did you work on?
I had a lady who had a shot in the leg, was bleeding profusely. We put 2 tourniquets on her trying to stop bleeding. An
Wow.
elderly lady.
Another
and then I saw
hero
her, she
right
died
here.
afterwards. Because
An elderly lady passed
the
away.
lady does. And then there was another the guy.
Yeah, for real.
He was hit in the head, but he was still alive. And yeah, I couldn't help him. He died.
You couldn't help him. He was shot in the head. And how old was he, do you think?
He was an older gentleman. It's not just the people, it's people that I know.
People from our community. People from our community, people that we know well, people that we see often.
Dead.
Your rabbi is dead.
5 kids behind. Dead. Young. Not even, he's 40 years old.
And so you were there as well. You were there as well.
I was there as well with my mother, with my son. And it just started. I couldn't believe it. Just shocked.
People think like it's so wild to me when I see people screaming about how Israel shouldn't defend itself. It's insane. Look, I am very standard. My politics are pretty similar across the board. I think America should look out for Americans, and Israel should look out for Israelis. Every country should look out for their own, absolutely, and put their own country first, without a shadow of a doubt. And if you think that it's not proportional, then don't start a fucking war. All right, then don't become part of a death cult and start a war. And that's the craziest part. And Australia will never get it because the leftoid mind is trained to abort your own children, castrate children, not get married. Don't actually use your empathy for your family. Use your empathy for retards across the world that literally want to kill you. And that's what's happening. And the radical left European countries, the parts of Western civilization that are super Eurocucked, that are liberal, that are feminist, they are literally importing their own demise. And I don't think they realize how bad it is or how bad it's going to be in 20 years. Because if 10% is Muslims now, then in one generation, 40% is going to be Muslims. Because the average white couple, they're having 1 kid. The average Muslim couple is having 7 kids. So, give it a
Yeah, I think the U.S. birth rates just recently, like in the last year or two, finally dropped below 2 kids, right? For the longest time, at least growing up, I remember the average, kids talking about it. We didn't necessarily know what we were talking about, but 2.5 was like the standard, right? And I believe it dipped below. So the replacement rate is now negative in terms of natural born American citizens.
Generation. 2 generations you'll be a minority. But that's what we're looking at. And you have to be blind or retarded to not see it.
Or both.
Started to hear shots and people were just flying in the air in front of me. I couldn't believe it.
Bodies flying in the air.
I don't know if they were bodying.
So they were
It
just
was,
joking.
Yeah, I thought it was I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
Crazy. I mean, look, I've been in Israel during terrorist attacks. I have multiple times, actually. It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. And Australia is just not equipped to deal with this stuff. Honestly, no one in Europe is equipped to deal with this stuff. No one in Europe.
Man, I'd love to go to Israel.
They have absolutely no idea what they're doing. They, like, bro, unless they do another crusade, they're fucked. It's insane.
I heard there was smoke.
It's my
No, I didn't see any smoke.
chaperone.
There's no grenades, there's just powerful rifles.
And so you are a member of the Jewish community, but you're a member of the Jewish community, but you were there in your role as well for the state emergency services.
So I'm a chaplain, a Jewish chaplain for state emergency services.
Wow.
I come here every year to just celebrate with my community. And today I actually was consoling people that lost their...
It's so wild. Russian immigrants are based every single time. It's so wild to see which cultures, when people immigrate, they actually try to assimilate.
Yeah,
the Russian immigrants.
For real.
I know a bunch of Russian.
I was thinking about that when he was introduced as Vlad, and I was like, wait, what? And then as he was talking, and you realize that this community was important to him, and he's a member of it. And no, dude, like certain people, meaning people groups and ethnic or cultural background people, right? They assimilate way better, at least for Western communities, where you look at Europeans, even Eastern Europeans, more of the Slavic communities, or even Turkic Europeans, and they come to America, and a generation later, they're just American, right? But at the same time, you might get some people from, and I'm not trying to make this charged, I'm not trying to, but you look at some immigrants from maybe Syria or Somalia, or maybe even like Pakistan, India, where it might be undiscernible between the people who actually immigrated and first generation, second generation Americans, where they're still speaking in accents, they're still closed off, they're not assimilated into American culture, where it's like an enclave of their country of origin within America. And to an extent, I think that's beneficial. I think it's fun and cool to be able to go to some of the larger cities, like Chinatown in Chicago, right? They're going to the Asian markets in the Asian area in Seattle, right? So I just did that a few months ago for the first time, and it was awesome. I loved it. But yeah, like Russian, I do know a few Russian immigrants personally, and then obviously online you run into people, and dude, they're not the government sucks, obviously, but citizens are kind of based,
Russians, mostly Jews, just because I guess that's closer to my circles, and they're the nicest people ever. They love immigrating to a more Western civilization, and they integrate and they assimilate into the culture. And they're just good, hardworking people every single time.
Well,
but the same.
I imagine, especially those who can remember the days back before the USSR fell, right? Like, that's gotta be a huge factor in regard to positive views on the West.
We said, when you're importing freaks from the third world that literally have religious doctrine to kill you.
Loved ones, right there and then. I mean, there's a woman crying next to her husband because his head was completely exploded. I mean, how am I going to consult her? What am I going to tell her? But I'll tell you one thing. I got these candles there, and I'm going to go home and I'm going to light them up. Because we must light up and keep the show going. We're not afraid.
Completely based. The fight's not over, man. The fight's never over.
Based.
Dude, what an absolute nightmare. What an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, it's absolutely devastating. Thank you so much, Vlad, for your incredible community service.
This Vlad guy he's a legend. This guy's a legend. But yeah, no, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at an actual dismantling and destruction of the West. It's actually crazy. And this is a story that happened in Australia a few months ago. When I saw this clip, I lost my mind. This is just a 2-minute clip, but this will show you everything you need to see about Australians' immigration policies. Get ready for this. It is gonna blow you away. So this is a Jewish influencer that called in like one of those like cam chats, like one of those random sites where you chat with random people. And this is him talking to 2 Australian nurses.
You know what?
Or Omega.
How are you, man? Good. How are you, my man? Pretty good. Are you a nurse? A doctor? A doctor for what?
Oh, I think I saw this.
In hospital. What
Organically.
about you? Where are you from? I'm from Israel, from the Holy Land. You know what? I'm gonna be really honest with you. All right. I'm gonna be really honest with you. You actually got a really, really beautiful eyes. Thank you, man. But I'm so upset that you're Israeli. Like, eventually you're gonna get killed and you're gonna go to Jahannam, inshallah.
Jahannam is hell.
Like, these pretty eyes, they should stay in this world for longer. Why do you think? Why do you think I'm gonna get killed? Because inshallah one day God will. Maybe because I served in the IDF. That's why. That's definitely the answer. Correct. That's the reason, because I served in the IDF. What's the problem with that? What's the issue with that?
You killed innocent people. That's
Killed? I was protecting my country.
So you kill innocent people to protect your country. What kind of soul do you have? You have no soul.
In the war, people die, as you know.
No.
They started the war.
Not
1200. Who started?
It's okay. Your time will come.
Who started? Who started this war?
I hope you guys.
Who elected Hamas? Who elected Hamas?
It's Palestine.
Dude is literally to say, I elected the terrorists that are murdering and raping your people. I am it. How dare you fight back? We are the victims in the war that we started. These are 2 Australian doctors talking about how excited he is for this person to die.
Country, not your
Hello,
country. You piece
how
of
are you?
shit.
What's your name?
No, none of you.
We're
listen to my
talking
name.
politely
Listen to me.
here. We're talking politely here.
One day, your time will come and you will die the most horrible
You
death.
spread
You
hate,
remember
we
me.
spread
And I
positivity,
pray,
we spread
and I
protection,
want
we
you-
spread
listen to me.
peace.
Listen to me.
And
When
you
your-
spread.
I
when
remember
your time
seeing this.
comes,
How
when
are
your
you
time
doctors?
comes,
Wait.
I want you to remember.
Right, Hippocratic oath, am I right?
I have. Okay,
so you
okay.
can understand
Gotcha.
that you will
I have
You die a painful death, all right.
the
question
most
though.
disgusting death.
All right, for sure. I have a question though. I have a question. Let's say an Israeli.
See? Look. Watch this. Watch. She's yapping. Watch what he does. He's like, I'm gonna talk now. Watch
Spread
this.
positivity,
pray,
we spread protection, we. I have. Okay.
Just watch.
Gotcha. I have a
You die a painful death, all right.
question though. All right, for sure.
See?
I have a question.
He just
though.
touches her. She backs off. See, so this goes back to. Oh wow, that was a while ago. This conversation right there. Right? She knows her fucking place. So you gotta give him one thing. They got one thing going for him. When their bitches be yapping, they can put them on a leash.
Yeah, what's
I have a question. Let's say an Israeli, God
I won't treat
forbid,
them. I won't treat them. I'll kill them.
you'll kill them?
Nurses in Australia, all right? These are the doctors and engineers that immigrated to Australia, okay? The doctors and engineers that immigrated to Australia.
So if an Israeli is in Australia and God forbid something happened to him and he comes to your hospital, would you kill him?
Okay, you have no idea how many Israeli Khara dog came to this hospital and I sent them to Jahannam.
I sent them to Jahannam, which is hell in Arabic.
I
For
literally
real?
sent them to Jahannam.
For real? So if just Jewish people comes there,
And they shut it off. And anyway, they got fired, and then they got rehired. They got rehired, guys. They got fired because, well, you can't have doctors saying that they're murdering Jews that come to the hospital. That's pretty bad. But they got rehired after that. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Thank you, Australia. Very cool. You guys have been so based and awesome. Thank you for your immigration policies being so good. Hell yeah, dude. This is what happens. This is what happens when you import infinite fucks. This is what happens when radical Islamists are literally imported to our shores. Don't be surprised when this keeps happening. This is in the same day that shots were fired at Jews in America and California. The same day of a planned terrorist attack in Germany. Do not be surprised. But no, I'm the racist. I'm the Islamophobe when I say that radical Islamists are coming to America to destroy us and coming to the West to destroy the West. When they say it themselves, and then they do this. And no, it's not every Muslim. But Hamas issued a statement thanking the two Islamic terrorists for murdering the people on the beach in Australia. Hamas released this statement to the Al Jazeera Qatari news network saying, "Thank you so much for your bravery in our collective fight against Western civilization." Specifically in regard to this terror attack.
I mean, I feel like that's what usually happens though, right? Is even groups or organizations that aren't involved in a specific or particular attack, they're going to claim responsibility just for clout, right? They're basically just clout chasing. And obviously that's what Hamas is saying there too. With their collective fight, it's like, no, nobody can look at the outcome of what happened and the videos of what happened and say, oh, this is a fight. It's a fight. No, it's cowardice, and like I would stand on business with anybody who says that it isn't. Yeah, anyway, it's almost 2 a.m, so I'm gonna click off, gonna stop recording. Got to edit these, put these out, so if you like the video, drop a like. Assuming anybody ever sees this, obviously go and support Mr. Taku over here, Nux Taku, Nuxnor. Fantastic commentator, fantastic content creator, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.